hacia una profundización de las brechas existentes para el logro de este objetivo. Estas brechas existentes ahora dan cuenta de que podríamos tener un rezago de más de 2 décadas en el mundo laboral. Que el cierre de brechas que se previó que podía tardar 100 años en cerrarse, ahora se habla de 135 años para cerrar la brecha entre los hombres y las mujeres. Entonces nuestro objetivo es que miren el derecho de las mujeres al empoderamiento económico, que el statement quédate en casa, que es un viejo conocido del patriarcado, no sea que nos quedemos en casa siempre, y que entendamos que la inserción de la mitad de la población, de este talento humano que tiene una serie de ventajas competitivas, es necesario para el crecimiento económico. De manera que la CIM está colocando esta realidad, está colocando las necesidades de las mujeres y está haciendo unas recomendaciones de rutas para poder cumplir con el derecho al empoderamiento económico y con el crecimiento económico que requieren nuestras empobrecidas economías en tiempos de COVID.
Esta organización es el guardián regional en defensa de la democracia, la libertad y los derechos humanos. Los países se han comprometido con estos valores a través de instrumentos legales como la Carta Democrática Interamericana, la Convención Americana de Derechos Humanos y todas las demás convenciones interamericanas. Nuestro trabajo es mantener los más altos estándares. Debemos ser objetivos, analizar los hechos, denunciar cuando veamos corrupción, inequidad o amenazas a la libertad. En esos casos no podemos ser neutrales.
More than 100 years since the inauguration of this building, the OAS headquarters, our institution still brings together the peoples of the Americas to address our responsibilities as a partnership of nations. As we look to the future, our work must also focus on the construction of a positive agenda that continues to favorably impact millions of lives every day.
The COVID-19 pandemic brought unprecedented challenges to all member states and the people we serve. In response, the OAS Secretariat for Integral Development adopted a three-pronged approach by 1. Adjusting our portfolio of existing projects, 2. Exploring new projects to meet emerging needs, and 3. Expanding multi-sectoral partnerships. The results achieved in 2020 demonstrate the resilience of our member states and the commitment of the OAS SETI to work with member states and partners towards our common goals in the development of our region. Our Network on Competitiveness launched the COVID-19 Ideas Accelerator, sharing 250 tools, health solutions, responses, and recovery plans. The Network for Labor Administration published a portfolio of responses from ministries of labor to COVID-19, sharing over 420 measures taken to protect workers, employment, and income. Likewise, the Inter-American Teacher Education Network series, Teaching STEM in Quarantine, provided 117,000 teachers with key tools to continue advancing STEM education during the pandemic. Through its network and platforms, the Inter-American Committee on Ports promoted international and national best practices, guidelines, protocols, and recommendations on COVID-19 safety measures and continuity of logistic operations. Initiatives such as the Education in Times of Change platform allowed us to meet urgent needs by offering timely tools on virtual education and a dedicated space for ministries to share strategies, actions, and solutions. Other programs such as the Row Fund stepped up, providing emergency grants to offset the challenges imposed on our students by the pandemic. SETI's partnerships are adding value to member states in the form of technical assistance, training, and access to tools and services. In partnership with leading private sector institutions, we offered micro, small, and medium enterprises access to online tools and training, increasing their visibility and participation in e-commerce, a key to their survival and growth in the pandemic and post-pandemic era. A new OAS SETI Facebook initiative provided 85,000 MSMEs across the region with capacity building opportunities and WhatsApp business tools to aid response, recovery, and resilience building. The Caribbean Small Business Development Centers program achieved real impact, supporting new businesses, expanding sales, and driving growth. A new network of Caribbean SPDCs will broaden the program's reach. The Inter-American Committee on Tourism, the C2, convened ministerial-level policy dialogue in an urgent response to the impact of the pandemic on the hard-hit tourism and hospitality sectors. Policymakers and experts discussed biosanitary protocols, travel and visa facilitation, among other critical areas for the sector's recovery. Partnering with the George Washington University and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, we went ahead with the scheduled first Indigenous Tourism Forum of the Americas, pivoting to a virtual format and convening over 240 participants from indigenous communities, the private sector, and governments. SETI also integrated sustainable development practices in the COVID-19 response. The pandemic is a daily reminder of the links between water, health, sanitation, food security, and nutrition. We ensured the continuity of our water management projects in the Plata Basin and worked with governments and partners in the design of an investment portfolio valued at $90 million. Additionally, the Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas continued to share relevant best practices and responses to the pandemic on energy and air quality. These few examples indicate our collective impact. We cannot do this alone. It is now more urgent than ever to address the region's structural weaknesses, to recover from the health, economic, and social crises occasioned by the pandemic and prepare for future shocks. It is imperative that we work together as we risk losing recent development gains and seeing millions fall back into poverty. It is time for the region to redirect course and pursue a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for all. We are in this together.
But the resilience building agenda is too big for any one stakeholder to address acting alone, and simply bringing together stakeholders, whether at the national, subnational, regional, or global level, is not enough. Effective, focused, and sustained coordination among stakeholders is paramount to provide countries with integrated and comprehensive support.
The OAS, as a hemispheric forum and honest broker, must continue to facilitate this process while we work with member states towards the attainment of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Cooperation, collaboration, and partnerships that include all actors strengthen us, enabling us to be more than the sum of our parts. We can and we must work together. The future of our region depends on it.
Bueno, la CIM tiene una agenda enorme en el tema de democracia y de liderazgos. El primer ámbito tiene que ver con la gobernanza electoral, para que esta gobernanza electoral responda a las necesidades con las que fue creada, y es buscar los espacios de redistribución del poder. Después hay un programa interamericano sobre el liderazgo de las mujeres, donde generamos conocimiento y también tenemos cursos de capacitación. Hay un poderoso curso que ha llegado a más de 1000 mujeres con más de 15 ediciones, que es para candidatas electorales, en las cuales conversamos con ellas, pero también nos ponemos en una agenda de solidaridad y articulación y alianzas entre las mujeres, a pesar de las múltiples diferencias ideológicas o de partidos políticos. También hablamos de los temas de violencia política, porque no es lo mismo llegar que quedarse, y la violencia política es una forma de ejercicio de disciplinar a las mujeres para que vuelvan al mundo de lo privado y enfrentar la violencia, hacer buenas investigaciones, buenas leyes que permitan sancionar la violencia política. Es parte de las aspiraciones de la CIM en este programa de liderazgo de las mujeres. La aspiración histórica de las mujeres es estar en el mundo de lo público, que nuestro trabajo sea remunerado y que tenga un reconocimiento. COVID ha puesto en evidencia una profundización de las brechas existentes para el logro de este objetivo. Estas brechas existentes ahora dan cuenta de que podríamos tener un rezago de más de 2 décadas en el mundo laboral, que el cierre de brechas que se previó que podía tardar 100 años en cerrarse, ahora se habla de 135 años para cerrar la brecha entre los hombres y las mujeres. Entonces nuestro objetivo es que miren el derecho de las mujeres al empoderamiento económico, que el statement quédate en casa, que es un viejo conocido del patriarcado, no sea que nos quedemos en casa siempre, y que entendamos que la inserción de la mitad de la población, de este talento humano que tiene una serie de ventajas competitivas, es necesario para el crecimiento económico. De manera que la CIM está colocando esta realidad, está colocando las necesidades de las mujeres y está haciendo unas recomendaciones de rutas para poder cumplir con el derecho al empoderamiento económico y con el crecimiento económico que requieren nuestras empobrecidas economías en tiempos de COVID.
Esta organización es el guardián regional en defensa de la democracia, la libertad y los derechos humanos. Los países se han comprometido con estos valores a través de instrumentos legales como la Carta Democrática Interamericana, la Convención Americana de Derechos Humanos y todas las demás convenciones interamericanas. Nuestro trabajo es mantener los más altos estándares. Debemos ser objetivos, analizar los hechos, denunciar cuando veamos corrupción, inequidad o amenazas a la libertad. En esos casos no podemos ser neutrales.
100 years since the inauguration of this building, the OAS headquarters, our institution still brings together the peoples of the Americas to address our responsibilities as a partnership of nations. As we look to the future, our work must also focus on the construction of a positive agenda that continues to favorably impact millions of lives every day.
The COVID-19 pandemic brought unprecedented challenges to all member states and the people we serve. In response, the OAS Secretariat for Integral Development adopted a three-pronged approach by 1. Adjusting our portfolio of existing projects, 2. Exploring new projects to meet emerging needs, and 3. Expanding multi-sectoral partnerships. The results achieved in 2020 demonstrate the resilience of our member states and the commitment of the OAS SETI to work with member states and partners towards our common goals in the development of our region. Our Network on Competitiveness launched the COVID-19 Ideas Accelerator, sharing 250 tools, health solutions, responses, and recovery plans. The Network for Labor Administration published a portfolio of responses from ministries of labor to COVID-19, sharing over 420 measures taken to protect workers, employment, and income. Likewise, the Inter-American Teacher Education Network series, Teaching STEM.
Días, cabina de inglés.
Hi, Fernando, how are you? Good morning. Thank you.
Hello, Joel, Fernando, Rodrigo. Can you hear me well? Great. Ciao.
Español, vamos a español. Cabina de español. Claudio, yo te escucho bien de aquí.
Muy bien,
Perfecto.
Claudio, gracias.
Muy bien. Rodrigo, vos me confirmás con Joel ahí que esté todo bien, porque yo no lo escucho, sino Joel.
Sí, yo estoy escuchando bien y yo también estoy escuchando.
Tampoco te escucho, solo confirmame con la mano. Mariana.
Okay.
Perfecto, muy bien, se escucha
Muy bien, Mariana, te
Sí,
escuchamos.
excelente. Gracias. Bien.
Gracias. Sí, gracias.
Nos vamos a francés. Cabina de francés.
In the form of technical assistance, training, and access to tools and services. In partnership with leading private sector institutions, we offered micro, small, and medium enterprises access to online tools and training, increasing their visibility and participation in e-commerce, a key to their survival and growth in the pandemic and post-pandemic era. A new OAS SETI Facebook initiative provided 85,000 MSMEs across the region with capacity building opportunities and WhatsApp business tools to aid response, recovery, and resilience building. The Caribbean Small Business Development Centers program achieved real impact, supporting new businesses, expanding sales, and driving growth. A new network of Caribbean SPDCs will broaden the program's reach. The Inter-American Committee on Tourism, the CTOUR, convened ministerial-level policy dialogue in an urgent response to the impact of the pandemic on the hard-hit tourism and hospitality sectors. Policymakers and experts discussed biosanitary protocols, travel and visa facilitation, among other critical areas for the sector's recovery. Partnering with the George Washington University and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, we went ahead with the scheduled first Indigenous Tourism Forum of the Americas, pivoting to a virtual format and convening over 240 participants from indigenous communities, the private sector, and governments. SETI also integrated sustainable development practices in the COVID-19 response. The pandemic is a daily reminder of the links between water, health, sanitation, food security, and nutrition. We ensured the continuity of our water management projects in the Plata Basin and worked with governments and partners in the design of an investment portfolio valued at $90 million. Additionally, the Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas continued to share relevant best practices and responses to the pandemic on energy and air quality. These few examples indicate our collective impact. We cannot do this alone. It is now more urgent than ever to address the region's structural weaknesses, to recover from the health, economic, and social crises occasioned by the pandemic and prepare for future shocks. It is imperative that we work together as we risk losing recent development gains and seeing millions fall back into poverty. It is time for the region to redirect course and pursue a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for all. We are in this together.
But the resilience building agenda is too big for any one stakeholder to address acting alone, and simply bringing together stakeholders, whether at the national, subnational, regional, or global level, is not enough. Effective, focused, and sustained coordination among the stakeholders is paramount to provide countries with integrated and comprehensive support.
The OAS, as a hemispheric forum and honest broker, must continue to facilitate this process while we work with member states towards the attainment of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Cooperation, collaboration, and partnerships that include all actors strengthen us, enabling us to be more than the sum of our parts. We can and we must work together. The future of our region depends on it.
Bueno, la CIM tiene una agenda enorme en el tema de democracia y de liderazgos. El primer ámbito tiene que ver con la gobernanza electoral, para que esta gobernanza electoral responda a las necesidades con las que fue creada, y es buscar los espacios de redistribución del poder. Después hay un programa interamericano sobre el liderazgo de las mujeres, donde generamos conocimiento y también tenemos cursos de capacitación. Hay un poderoso curso que ha llegado a más de 1000 mujeres con más de 15 ediciones, que es para candidatas electorales, en las cuales conversamos con ellas, pero también nos ponemos en una agenda de solidaridad y articulación y alianzas entre las mujeres, a pesar de las múltiples diferencias ideológicas o de partidos políticos. También hablamos de los temas de violencia política, porque no es lo mismo llegar que quedarse, y la violencia política es una forma de ejercicio de disciplinar a las mujeres para que vuelvan al mundo de lo privado y enfrentar la violencia, hacer buenas investigaciones, buenas leyes que permitan sancionar la violencia política. Es parte de las aspiraciones de la CIM en este programa de liderazgo de las mujeres. La aspiración histórica de las mujeres es estar en el mundo de lo público, que nuestro trabajo sea remunerado y que tenga un reconocimiento. COVID ha puesto en evidencia una profundización de las brechas existentes para el logro de este objetivo. Estas brechas existentes ahora dan cuenta de que podríamos tener un rezago de más de 2 décadas en el mundo laboral. Que el cierre de brechas, que se previó que podía tardar 100 años en cerrarse, ahora se habla de 135 años para cerrar la brecha entre los hombres y las mujeres. Entonces, nuestro objetivo es que miren el derecho de las mujeres al empoderamiento económico, que el statement "quédate en casa", que es un viejo conocido del patriarcado, no sea que nos quedemos en casa siempre, y que entendamos que la inserción de la mitad de la población, este talento humano que tiene una serie de ventajas competitivas, es necesario para el crecimiento económico. De manera que la CIM está colocando esta realidad, está colocando las necesidades de las mujeres y está haciendo unas recomendaciones de rutas para poder cumplir con el derecho al empoderamiento económico y con el crecimiento económico que requieren nuestras empobrecidas economías en tiempos de COVID.
Hoy, esta organización es el guardián regional en defensa de la democracia, la libertad y los derechos humanos. Los países se han comprometido con estos valores a través de instrumentos legales como la Carta Democrática Interamericana, la Convención Americana de Derechos Humanos y todas las demás convenciones interamericanas. Nuestro trabajo es mantener los más altos estándares. Debemos ser objetivos, analizar los hechos, denunciar cuando veamos corrupción, inequidad o amenazas a la libertad. En esos casos no podemos ser neutrales.
than 100 years since the inauguration of this building, the OAS headquarters, our institution still brings together the peoples of the Americas to address our responsibilities as a partnership of nations. As we look to the future, our work must also focus on the construction of a positive agenda that continues to favorably impact millions of lives every day.
The COVID-19 pandemic brought unprecedented challenges to all member states and the people we serve. In response, the OAS Secretariat for Integral Development adopted a three-pronged approach by 1. Adjusting our portfolio of existing projects, 2. Exploring new projects to meet emerging needs, and 3. Expanding multi-sectoral partnerships. The results achieved in 2020 demonstrate the resilience of our member states and the commitment of the OAS SETI to work with member states and partners towards our common goals in the development of our region. Our Network on Competitiveness launched the COVID-19 Ideas Accelerator, sharing 250 tools, health solutions, responses, and recovery plans. The Network for Labor Administration published a portfolio of responses from ministries of labor to COVID-19, sharing over 420 measures taken to protect workers, employment, and income. Likewise, The Inter-American Teacher Education Network series, Teaching STEM in Quarantine, provided 117,000 teachers with key tools to continue advancing STEM education during the pandemic. Through its network and platforms, the Inter-American Committee on Ports promoted international and national best practices, guidelines, protocols, and recommendations on COVID-19 safety measures and continuity of logistic operations. Initiatives such as the Education in Times of Change platform allowed us to meet urgent needs by offering timely tools on virtual education and a dedicated space for ministries to share strategies, actions, and solutions. Other programs such as the Row Fund stepped up, providing emergency grants to offset the challenges imposed on our students by the pandemic. SETI's partnerships are adding value to member states in the form of technical assistance, training, and access to tools and services. In partnership with leading private sector institutions, we offered micro, small, and medium enterprises access to online tools and training, increasing their visibility and participation in e-commerce, a key to their survival and growth in the pandemic and post-pandemic era. A new OAS SETI Facebook initiative provided 85,000 MSMEs across the region with capacity building opportunities and WhatsApp business tools to aid response, recovery, and resilience building. The Caribbean Small Business Development Centers program achieved real impact, supporting new businesses, expanding sales, and driving growth. The new network of Caribbean SPDCs will broaden the program's reach. The Inter-American Committee on Tourism, the C2, convened ministerial-level policy dialogue in an urgent.
The Office of the Assistant Secretary General is pleased to confirm that we have quorum. The following countries are participating either virtually or in person: Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, the Bahamas, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominica, Ecuador, El Salvador, the United States of America, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Honduras, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, República Dominicana, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, Uruguay, and Venezuela.
Thank you. The Secretariat has confirmed the quorum. Good morning, esteemed colleagues. Following verification of the quorum by the Secretariat, I am pleased to declare open this special meeting of the Permanent Council, which has been convened at the request of the Permanent Mission of Haiti, as contained in document CP/INF 9437/22. For the purpose of receiving the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Haiti, His Excellency Jean-Victor Généus. Considering the draft order of business CP/OD 2390/22 as adopted, allow me to express, on behalf of the Permanent Council, our warmest welcome to Minister Jean-Victor Généus. Minister Généus, welcome back to the House of the Americas. His Excellency Jean-Victor Généus, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Haiti, is a renowned writer, researcher, and historian with a long diplomatic career. He has been serving as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Haiti since November 24, 2021. Minister Généus has served his beloved country in various roles. He has served as Consul General in Boston, member of the Private Office of President René Préval, Minister of Haitians living abroad, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Argentina, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Envoy to Cuba, and Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Bahamas. He also led the Haitian delegation to the CARICOM summits in St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Jamaica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he has participated in the CELAC, CARIFORUM, and CARICOM Cuba summits. Minister, it is an honor for me as permanent representative of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and chair of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States to welcome you. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair of the Permanent Council, Vice Chair, Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General, permanent representatives, permanent observers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I am very pleased to be at the headquarters of the OAS at this Permanent Council meeting in order to make a presentation to you on behalf of the Haitian government and our people so that they can understand our situation and to inform you about the efforts that we are undertaking to improve the situation. And as always, we have need of your support. Thus, I would like to begin by conveying to you on my own behalf and on behalf of the government my thanks, our thanks to the chair of the Permanent Council, Ambassador Luann Gilchrist, the permanent representative of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for having convened this special meeting of the Permanent Council. I would also like to thank everyone here and those who are on social media listening. Thank you for hearing my presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, currently Haiti is at a decisive crossroads for its future. It has been struck by a multidimensional security, and it is of great concern to us nationally, as well as for the international community. Nevertheless, contrary to the pessimistic outlook some may have about our country, we, the Haitians, believe that now more than ever that we must change this situation. And if our brothers and sisters in the continent who I am speaking to today, if they support us, you can trust that we have not lost the battle for a better future. Although we have not won the battle yet. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Haiti, of which I am a minister for, was installed a year ago during a security, social, and economic crisis due to the reprehensible assassination of President Jovenel Moise, which took place in June 2021. Prime Minister Ariel Henry, due to the fragility of the situation, understood the need to find broad consensus with political actors and also institutions of civil society in order to have a transparent administration and be able to have calm reign during this provisional government. So on 11 September, we had a transition period, and several political parties and civil society organizations supported this. We continue to regret that we have not been able to go forward with more political dialogue. However, the provisional government believes that we have been able to gain the confidence of many sectors. Any long-term solution to this crisis begins with serious and inclusive dialogue, which can fulfill the aspirations of our people. And publicly, I would like to say that on behalf of the Prime Minister and the government is open to consensus-based solutions that will allow us to have national reconciliation. The Prime Minister has unflaggingly gone forward to undertake this dialogue. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my country is now in a food crisis because of armed gangs that kidnap and murder both Haitians and foreigners. Despite efforts and the goodwill of the government, the political, social, and economic situation remains very concerning. We face great security challenges, and our people face great difficulties because of it. Indeed, the priority, in addition to political dialogue, is to reimpose order and security. This is absolutely necessary if we would like to have elections and the reestablishment of Republican and democratic institutions, which will lead us out of this socio-economic crisis. Because of this outlook, the government of Haiti is doing everything possible to neutralize armed gangs. The National Haitian Police are heroically fighting against these gang members, and they have had some successes, although a lot is left to do, especially in the metropolitan area of Port-au-Prince. Despite the difficulties, for the first time in 5 years, our children have gone to school for a whole year. During recent weeks, the confidence of our people has been reinvested in the National Police, as they have been able to go after some gang members. Efforts are being undertaken to be able to cut off their main supplies. In other words, illegal arms trafficking. But these arms are not manufactured in Haiti. The security problem cannot be resolved if we cannot control illegal arms trafficking. In this context, the Haitian government invites member states to support its efforts to put a stop to this scourge, especially in line with the UN resolution from 2006, which demands that member states put an end to sending illegal arms to Haiti. On the ground, the professionalism of our customs officers and police have recently allowed them to seize large shipments of arms and munitions. And we saw a spectacular operation in a port in the northwest and also in Port-au-Prince, thanks to our customs agents. This happened in June. The seizure in Port-au-Prince had to do with thousands of munitions, weapons, and AK-47s and other automatic weapons. This in one container in the port of Port-au-Prince. And 6,000 bullets, automatic weapons, charges for different weapons, and also forged American dollars. Investigations are ongoing so that traffickers of death can be taken to justice. All of this goes against those who are fighting against the transition, those criminal elements. The police are focusing their efforts to be able to open up the routes to the Dominican Republic. And they are also going to try to stop those who are blockading our routes. They want to neutralize these gangs. And we hope that as soon as possible, Haitian police will receive new arms. The arduous work of the police gives us hope that by 5 September, we will have acceptable security conditions. Meanwhile, the government has taken steps within its limited resources so that the right to education under our Constitution is respected. Investments are being made for school structures and to improve the quality of education. The initiative of the Ministry of Education has meant that more than 1,000 teachers and administrative personnel are being trained. However, in order to consolidate these successes, we must attack the armed gangs, and we must be able to have institutions in neighborhoods that are taken from these gangs. The police must act urgently. We must strengthen the police's capacity, especially those that are involved in operations on the ground. We must do everything within our power to reestablish security nationwide and restore the authority of the state, which has been undermined by armed criminals. This battle to reestablish order and security depends on the will of the government to create a situation where we can have free, fair, and transparent elections in order to quickly restore the authority of freely elected representatives. We all who are Democrats want to return to political stability and the normal operations of democratic institutions. Prime Minister Ariel Henry has committed to new elections as soon as minimum security requirements can be met. Now, with regard to governance, I would like to share with you that our vision is one of a country with security, sovereignty, rule of law, economic prosperity, equality, inclusion, and collective welfare. As from the installation of this government, the government has seen that the institutions of the state are falling apart. Therefore, it has undertaken efforts to improve basic services, fight against corruption and smuggling, and also to take austerity measures. The efforts on good public management has allowed for the signing of a staff monitoring program agreement with the IMF. In the framework of this agreement, the government has committed to take economic and financial governance measures to ensure that the budget deficit is limited to 1.5% and taken other measures with respect to the central bank. And measures have been taken to strengthen customs control. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 1 year since the southern peninsula was struck by an earthquake, and this part of our country was cut off from the rest of the country. Damage was significant, with thousands of structures damaged, especially schools. Thanks to friendly countries, the government has been able to undertake reconstruction of health centers, highways, and schools. We also have a new bridge over the river in Grande Anse, and this is very important for the delivery of foodstuffs. I'd like to take advantage of this opportunity to thank these countries that have contributed to the reconstruction in my country. Nevertheless, we have immense needs, and the government calls upon the international community for its cooperation to be able to help more children and do more. The government is very concerned about the situation of the poorest, those who are most economically vulnerable. We are aware that the country cannot have a stable situation if we cannot address the needs of the most vulnerable. In addition to the problems caused by political instability, insecurity, and inflation, measures to mitigate the consequences of the lack of purchasing power of the population is a priority of the provisional government. Recently, we launched a program, a social program to help the most vulnerable to be able to cope with this inflation. And with the same aim, the government has made great efforts to help public servants who have seen their remuneration go up 15%, as well as raising the basic salary. The delocalization of several businesses because of the insecurity worsens unemployment, which was already very bad for some strata of the population. The solution to the crisis in Haiti includes the need to give hope to young people. The country desperately needs massive investment in order to create stable and decent jobs, in order to offer our young people different options so they can plan and build their future without having to risk their lives on dangerous trips as irregular migrants. With respect to migration, we believe that legal and safe migration can help long-term development of the countries in the area. And this is in keeping the declaration with respect to safe and orderly migration that Haiti also signed on to. This was signed on to at the Summit of the Americas. Responsibility is shared with respect to migration. Host countries, other countries must take responsibility. Haiti and other countries have always supported the sovereign right of each country to adopt and implement the regulations of its national legislation with respect to the protection of its borders and the admission on its soil. However, everything must be done in keeping with the respect for the human rights of all human beings, which all members of this organization support. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during this last week, many have weighed in on the crisis in Haiti. Everyone has showed their solidarity and called upon everyone to show solidarity with the country of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And this is because of our difficult situation. We have heard these expressions of solidarity towards our country and our people. However, I would like to also share with this important assembly the short-term efforts of our government at this decisive crossroads. My country has the need for the support of all brotherly countries in order to be able to face the insecurity problem. I am counting on you to explain to your respective governments, which are long-standing partners of Haiti. They have a cooperation experience with our country, and some, during recent years, have contributed significantly to professionalize and modernize our police forces, and we thank them. These contributions are important, but we immediately need equipment for our national police. You should know that some gangs are better armed than our national police, and we need to address these imbalances. I would like to avail myself of this occasion to ask those countries that can, that they help us purchase material and equipment that is needed to cut red tape, which would allow for quick deliveries. With respect to national dialogue, the Prime Minister Ariel Henry has done and is doing everything possible to have a broad consensus under the September 11th agreement. We ask all countries that can support us to do exploratory visits to Haiti, to be able to meet the important actors and to understand the complexity of our situation. That is the best way to avoid any errors in assessment and to help look for solutions. Everything that your countries can do to strengthen the confidence of those who are involved in the dialogue and encourage hesitant actors to participate, these efforts will be welcome. For example, the interest shown by our brother countries from CARICOM. I just met with its permanent representative, and we have spoken about how CARICOM governments can contribute to this effort. The long experience of Haitian civil society can be very helpful. As I have already stated, the provisional government would like to see the adoption of certain amendments to the Constitution and elections as soon as possible. Elections are an act of sovereignty, but they must be credible, and they must be elections in which most Haitians participate in. And Haiti welcomes technical assistance and expertise from your respective governments, as well as from the OAS. For Prime Minister Ariel Henry and all members of his cabinet, it is based on legitimacy, the legitimacy of those elected, that history can judge what the transitional government has done. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that the work of the National Haitian Police is just a part of the problem. Law enforcement efforts are necessary, but it is not enough. And this cannot be the only way to address the problem. Socioeconomic projects that have rapid results are crucial, especially in the neighborhoods that are recovered from armed gangs. Furthermore, at the level of the government, we want to act quickly, very quickly, to address the difficulties of our population that live in very precarious situations, and give hope back to our young people who have only seen violence and who think immigration is, or migration is, their only possibility in the future. If we do not act, more lives will be lost. More lives than those that have already been lost because of these armed gangs. So I would call upon you urgently to provide food assistance and to invest on our national market, because we need food desperately. The Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, since he took power, has been acting and asking public servants to be honest, transparent, and the government is doing its best to use its meager resources for the common good. We request assistance from the Organization of American States in order to help us fight against corruption. We need support for our oversight organizations, which have been weakened because of bad governance and the current situation of the country. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, based on what I have had the honor to tell you, you can see that the challenges we are facing are significant at this difficult crossroads. The country, more than ever, needs the unity of our people, but also the understanding and solidarity of all. I call upon you in this prestigious house to show your solidarity with us and know that the government has acted with goodwill, and governments in the past have done so also, but without very positive results. So we need your solidarity with Haiti. And because of what has happened in the past, we need to take into account the lessons learned and the aspirations of our people for a better future. Before I conclude my presentation, I would like to let you know that the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, and his government is committed to coming to an agreement with key sectors so that we can have a credible electoral council and have democratic and inclusive elections. You should note that the government has no intention of remaining in power. It will cede power to those who are legally and freely elected by the Haitian people. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chair, I thank you so much for your attention. And I ask the permanent representatives and observers here to convey the thanks from the Haitian government to their governments for their support and for their commitment to the Haitian cause. Thank you very much.
I would now like to offer the floor to those delegations that wish to make any comments. I offer the floor to Canada.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. Bonjour, chers collègues. Bonjour.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Welcome, Secretary General, and good morning and welcome to Mr. Foreign Minister. To begin, I'd like to thank His Excellency, the Foreign Minister, for joining us today. Canada continues to be concerned about the crisis, the national crisis. And because of the policies and the expansion of the gangs and the levels of unprecedented level of violence, and this has gone on and has become worse and has made Haiti more weak. And so a proper policy is essential to emerge from the current political crisis. We have taken note of the recent communique from the OAS Secretary General about Haiti. We continue to feel that the international community in collaboration and in consensus with Haiti can play a crucial role. And there have been efforts undertaken to confront the most urgent issues in the country. Canada is ready, willing, and able to accompany Haitians on this path to emerge from the crisis. But the solutions must come from within Haiti. We call on the OAS to engage in constructive efforts and thus act as a force to draw in actors to help. There's been a ministerial meeting where the OAS Secretary General has taken part. For example, Canada has reinforced its support to the National Haitian Police and the National Training Academy of the police force to create as well a national fund. And this has been with the support of UNDP. We urge states, including OAS member states, to work to ensure robust support for the National Haitian Police. And this is one of the major challenges that is faced by Haiti. We must also emphasize successful operations conducted over the last few weeks by the Haitian National Police. Also, we have provided humanitarian assistance, and the UNDP Trust Fund has been used to deal with the effects of the earthquake, and 69 million Canadian dollars have been contributed to this fund. This is a fundamental, crucial time for Haiti, and so I urge the OAS and its members to continue to work for and support efforts to rebuild, to make the country more resilient and prosperous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and all representatives here, Secretary General. Indeed, we had a meeting before the OAS Council with the CARICOM caucus with the minister, and we had an open and frank discussion about the situation in Haiti also, and what the CARICOM's involvement is. I must say that we all share the burden of the situation in Haiti. Haiti is a member of CARICOM, and we are all committed to find solutions in agreement with the Haitian authorities. And we have promised that we will stay in very close contact with the government in Haiti. And actually there is, I think even tomorrow, another round of discussions in Trinidad. So we are looking into the situation, and we hope that the OAS also will support the situation in Haiti as much as they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Suriname. I now offer the floor to the United States.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Foreign Minister Geneos, thank you very much for your remarks and presence today at the OAS. The United States supports a Haitian-led process to restore Haiti's democratic institutions, address the severe security situation, and move toward establishing better conditions so that Haitians can thrive in their own country. To this end, the United States continues to urge all of Haiti's political, economic, and civil society stakeholders to continue dialogue and pursue a path toward holding elections when conditions allow. Haiti's government, political parties, civil society, diaspora, and private sector must lead this process and work together in the interests of the Haitian people. Improving safety and security for the people of Haiti is key to achieving all the goals Haiti has set for itself: to improve public health, to increase access to education, to build a stronger and more inclusive economy, to restore trust in public institutions, and so much more. The assassination of President Moïse last year remains a shock to Haiti's political system and public consciousness. At the last OAS General Assembly, OAS delegations supported a declaration on the situation in Haiti. The declaration was a positive signal of our collective will to support Haiti. The OAS must continue to support Haiti. With the OAS General Assembly fast approaching, we have an opportunity to elevate the situation in Haiti for the region, as you are doing here today. We remain steadfast partners in support of building a better future for Haiti and the Haitian people. Thank you.
Thank you, United States. I now offer the floor to Chile.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're grateful for the presence of the Minister of Foreign Relations of Haiti, Jean-Victor Geneus, and his remarks, where the states are able to put forward our points of view and coordinate actions. This is the role in the view of Chile, which is what our organization should be doing. In view of the situation of in Haiti, there's different things. The humanitarian crisis, among other things, all came together, and the criminal gangs are one of the main destabilizing factors in that country. In this context, we believe it's appropriate to make every effort in the region to be able to help and come to a consensus to be able to save the institutions of the countries. That probably at the center of this, and it's very important to take a different approach. Our country has made contributions through various means. And a year ago, after the earthquake, and with our fire squad as well, and we are a sister country to this, and in strengthening democracy and institutions. In our efforts to do that, there we participated in training of public officials and security officials. We've collaborated with an international cooperation program to be able to train these forces. This is not recent, our efforts, that is, as we've had a close bilateral relationship both with Chile in the UN in MINUSTAH, as well as cooperation efforts since 2010 that I personally was involved in. Because of all of this, we find Haiti to be a sister country, and there's a lot of Haitians living in Chile, but this is 12% of the foreigners who are living in our territory. It represents that 12%. And we, within our possibilities, we want to continue to provide cooperation and help bilaterally and multilaterally in projects to the private sector and the public sector, and to also to deal with the most vulnerable segments of the population. In this spirit, we want to help improve policies that involve recognition of what the international community has done, and non-governmental organizations as well as in civil society have all been involved when we recognize this. And in this context, we have to say that Chile, the international community, and MINUSTAT have ensured to help earthquake relief. Today, we want to continue with this climate of cooperation. And with this recognition and aware of this task before us, we issue an appeal to the international community to work together and in a coordinated fashion, because this is the only way to bring about a change. By the way, the international community should contribute to put an end to the state of violence that is ailing the country. They can only do that with if the civilian government of Haiti will come to an agreement and reach a consensus. We have to deploy actions that have a short, medium, and long-term and enduring effect in the country. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone, ambassadors, permanent observers, Mr. General Secretary, etc. My delegation would like to thank the Foreign Minister of Haiti, Jean-Victor Janius, for his remarks here at this meeting and for explaining to us what's going on there. It's of great interest to all of us. We're also grateful for the communique prepared by the release prepared by Luis Almagro, the Secretary General, with regard to the situation in Haiti, which centers the situation from a point of view of the international community. As has been said, we want to deal with democracy and security, but both these aspects require engagement and commitment, both Haitian government as well as the social and political sectors of the country, through an institutionalized process that has to be assisted by the international community. Just like the countries that have taken on commitments at prior meetings on this topic and have been organized by the United States, Canada, and France, Costa Rica agrees that unfortunately the situation in Haiti has deteriorated despite the major efforts that has been made by its authorities. Our country believes that together with a sense of urgency to deal with the crisis in Haiti, we should provide it an approach with 4 elements that ensure, among other things, technical financial support to the Haitian authorities to combat the criminal organizations and corruption, build better capacity to address from a human rights approach immigration, and then immediate dealing with the basic infrastructure and strengthening the capacity to mitigate the effects of climate change and natural disasters, and building a plan of action for the long term that enables us to deal with the structural causes of the political crisis with a view towards strengthening the institutions and Haitian security. Costa Rica, together with the representatives of Canada, Ecuador, the United States of America, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with the support of the General Secretariat, took part in the mission, Good Office's mission of the OAS in the Republic of Haiti last June. It was established to collaborate in that process of opening up dialogue with the private sector, religious groups, and civil society, and with the government. In our meetings with local actors that were strategic, we reiterated our commitment to create a representative democracy under the Inter-American Democratic Charter's principles. Not just holding presidential and legislative elections is not enough, but it has to be transparency, and we yearn for this. There being policies to help to eradicate violence and for there to be a framework of respect for human rights. Mr. Foreign Minister, our commitments are still alive. We have expressed our best practices with regard to the care of the to be stewards of the environment and all of the effects of the natural disasters and pandemic. Costa Rica is willing and able to collaborate with any actions to alleviate the multidimensional crisis that Haiti is experiencing with a human rights approach that makes it possible to hold free and transparent elections with the help of the international community. As we have said earlier, the solution should be led by the Haitian people, and thus we reiterate the importance of working together as an international community for a stable and prosperous and sustainable and safe future in Haiti, hand in hand with the Haitian people. Thank you very much.
Dominican Republic.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Mr. Minister, Secretary General, esteemed colleagues. We salute and thank the Minister for his presence here. This shows the interest of his country in maintaining dialogue with the region with regard to the challenges faced by his country and to come to an understanding about how the international community can be involved. Here at the OAS, we all, without exception, have witnessed what has been described in your remarks as the turbulent institutional, social, and economic life of Haiti in recent times. As you have pointed out, Mr. Foreign Minister, the most visible thing to all of us outside of Haiti is the horrible spiral of violence over the last, lately, the kidnapping, massacres, murders, and the lack of control vis-a-vis the territorial fights by the criminal gangs. We have to issue a clear and unequivocal appeal to act in solidarity. The progressive deterioration and instability in Haiti undermine the dignity of the entire people, regional security, and shared values of solidarity and cooperation. You, Mr. Minister, have clearly expressed this. In the Dominican Republic, we warn that when uncivilized processes are unleashed, barbarism is sure to come. Everything I've described is unusual, and it's an extraordinary threat to the national security of my own country, to our foreign policy and our economy. Despite the clashes in the past, we want to be optimistic and view the crisis as an opportunity to make steps forward. The recent events affect hundreds of thousands of Haitians. We have to collaborate with your government to recover security and deal with the humanitarian crisis, promote democracy, and show a commitment to all the values of this organization. If we don't act, the multidimensional crisis will grow deeper. We also need good offices as intermediary and leadership to facilitate national dialogue to guide the future of Haiti. We hail the efforts of Ariel Fries, the Prime Minister, in this regard. We wish him success in bringing together the political leadership, the social and economic leadership, so they'll all be on the same page. When it was evident that the deterioration of conditions in Haiti and the frustration of the international community, the Dominican Republic took part in the discussion process and negotiations of the terms of the mandate of the political mission that replaced MINUSTAD. We wish that there would be more horizontal and extensive discussions to have a robust multidimensional mechanism in place. That BNU should be financed properly and broader. And so the proposal of the Secretary General of the UN wasn't specific enough with regard to objectives, nor broad enough to preserve stability over time and re-guide Haiti towards development. Another fundamental aspect for us is vulnerability to climate change and natural disasters. As you all are well aware, our country and Haiti share the same ecosystem. This puts us in a very unique position to be able to deal with this issue. Our island is ecologically fragile, and it's one of the highest, most vulnerable with regard to climate change. With all the displacements and suffering that have come, this is a threat to peace, stability, and security. In short, our position has always been the same: to encourage strong international cooperation solutions, because there must be greater capacity and there must be more funding so that there can be peace and stability that are enduring in Haiti under the leadership of Haitians, solutions that truly reflect solidarity with the international community, with the Haitian people. Lastly, I must point out once again that what my country does is way beyond our ability. Our proven solidarity and commitment to the development of Haiti have been palpable and at each stage of this crisis. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. My delegation greets the Minister of Foreign Relations, Victor Genot, and thank him for participating in this special meeting. Madam Foreign Minister of Mexico reiterates his commitment to work multilaterally and bilaterally to come up with lasting solutions to enable overcoming the situation of insecurity and to achieve guarantees to hold elections as soon as possible with the greatest citizen participation and with the decisive backing of the international community without foreign meddling. Mexico recently, at the Security Council of the UN, together with the United States, sponsored Resolution 2645, which extends until July 15th of 2023 the mandate of the UN office, integrated office BINU in Haiti, and among other things, it reiterates the issue that all interested parties in Haiti come to an agreement on behalf of the Haitians to organize legislative and presidential elections that are peaceful, free, inclusive, transparent, as soon as it is able, as soon as the logistical preparations can be done, with broad participation of women, young people, civil society, and other actors through national dialogue. This resolution urges the member states to prohibit the transfer of small arms, light arms, and ammunition, and not to non-state agents that take part in violence in these gangs and criminal organizations who commit abuses of human rights in Haiti or support this, and to stop this illicit traffic and their diversion, and also urges member states to cooperate to prevent illicit traffic and diversion of weapons, illegal weapons, and also to exchange in a timely, updated information in a timely fashion, and to find the sources of this illicit traffic and to deal with this traceability. These weapons are catalysts for this alarming violence. Mexico wants OAS members to comply with the content of this UN Security Council resolution and continue supporting the work of BINU and support Haiti to enable support for security, and so as soon as possible we can hold this elections that is so in need, the people of Haiti, to put an end to its suffering. In the meantime, Mr. Foreign Minister, Mexico will continue to strengthen its scientific programs with regard to electoral assistance in agriculture and fishing and tourism, electricity, and will move forward in compliance with its commitment to provide training to the Haitian National Police on things like community policing, VIP security, under a human rights approach and a coordinated one with Haitian authorities, and deal with the Sembrando Vida program, which is for reforestation and offering employment to Haitian citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I first welcome the distinguished Foreign Minister of Haiti to this Council of the Organization of American States this morning. May I also ask, through you, Chair, that a copy of his very important statement be made available in English. The reason I ask that is because he said a number of very important things this morning, but I rather suspect that some of his words were lost in translation, and therefore the full import of what he was saying was not communicated to all of us. It is too important a statement for us not to be fully aware of all that he has said. So I would ask that that statement be available in English so that we can study it carefully. I also want to offer him an apology that I was not present at the meeting with the CARICOM caucus this morning. There were very good reasons why I could not be present, but I'm delighted to be here, and I was happy to hear his presentation this morning. Madam Chair, I need not tell you that what happens with Haiti is of great importance to the Caribbean community. Not only because Haiti is a member of our grouping, but because of the historical role that Haiti has played in relation to the freedom and independence and sovereignty of all our peoples. Haiti struck the first blow for all of us, but it was a decisive blow, and one that no Caribbean country can discount or forget. And therefore, our solidarity with Haiti springs from that very important and fundamental, those very important and fundamental rights that Haiti helped us and paved the way for each of us to achieve. Now, having said that, the situation in Haiti is, as many speakers have said this morning, extremely grave. And I must put on record my delegation's great sympathy for the position expressed by my colleague from the Dominican Republic this morning, both in his analysis of the situation and of the implications of it for his country and other countries that have, including the Bahamas, which have had to carry the brunt of irregular immigration and other activity in their countries. Clearly, at the root cause of all of this now is the gang violence, which clearly is out of control. Notwithstanding the valiant efforts of the police that the distinguished foreign ministers described this morning, the gangs are in control of Haiti. And as he rightly says, until that situation is brought under control, we cannot conceive of elections being held in any normal way. So the priority is getting the violence under control. Haiti alone cannot do that, though at the very root of what was first happening in Haiti is that there must be a consensus amongst all the parties. The bickering, the carping, the fighting for turf that has characterized the dialogue in Haiti between the parties in Haiti has to stop in their own interest. And Haiti cannot expect the international community, and I want to talk about the international community in a minute, but Haiti cannot expect the international community to respond to Haiti's needs without some assurance that within Haiti there will be a collective, solidified response, both in terms of the requests they make, the cooperation they will give, and the openness with which they will deal with the international community. That, I believe, is key to all of this. Now, who is the international community? We use that term loosely. Everybody talks about it. Almost every speaker here this morning talked about the international community. What is that? The international community, by any definition, is all the players in the international community. Every country, every institution, not one or two or three, but all of them. So we must be careful when we ask the international community to do things or blame the international community for some things, because many people in the international community are perfectly innocent of what happens in Haiti or has happened there. There are other places in the international community, both countries and institutions, that have damaged Haiti irreparably over many years. I don't need to name those countries because you know who they are. Now, it is up to those countries, if they recognize the error of their ways in the past, to do something about correcting the situation in Haiti positively. Countries like those in CARICOM don't have the means to do it. We will give Haiti support. We will give Haiti the benefit of whatever expertise we have. But the financial support, the means to change what is happening there, comes back to the international community with the resources to do so. And many of them, incidentally, are the countries that are very much responsible for what is happening in Haiti today. Now, beyond that, I just say one word to the Foreign Minister of Haiti. Sir, I led a delegation of this organization to your country in 2016, at a time, again, of constitutional crisis. A transitional government was established. It led to the election eventually of Jovenel Moïse, with a great deal of hope for Haiti's future. But we see how that ended, in blood and assassination. In Haiti, once again, thrown into turmoil. This is a continuing cycle. And unless that cycle is broken, I'm afraid the future that you have asked us to join you in accomplishing will be very difficult. It means that all of us, including the people who govern in Haiti, the people who run institutions in Haiti, the private sector, everybody has to get together to put forward a solution about Haiti that you consider to be workable, but that could be credible to the international community. And when I say the international community now, I do mean the international community. Everybody, including the United Nations, this Organization of American States, the Inter-American Development Bank, the IMF, the World Bank, and those countries that run those institutions, to recognize that Haiti is a very special case caused by the action of others throughout its history to bring it to the place where it is now, and that is on its knees. So I thank you very much for coming, sir, and I would very much like to see your remarks in full. I think you made a very important statement here today, one that will give us food for thought and cause for action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antigua and Barbuda. I now offer the floor to the Secretary General.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
First of all, I would like to welcome once again Foreign Minister Jean-Victor Jeunesse. Thank him for his presentation, which was very valuable. For the first time that he has come to the Permanent Council at this special meeting. Also, I would like to talk about the fact that in August was the 230th anniversary of Haiti, which inspired so many nations for their freedom, a special revolution, because it was based on the fact that all men and women are created equal. that cry for freedom, we can still hear it. Of course, we cannot be indifferent to the suffering that we see daily in Haiti. For that reason, we have called upon all to show solidarity to the Haitian people. Haiti is living through a very difficult situation, and there must be innovative measures to serve the Haitian people to be able to overcome the current crisis and also put it on the right path to be able to realize the rights of all its citizens. Let us not be mistaken. This is a difficult situation. The insecurity is undermining democracy and also the operations of a democratic system. Insecurity, which includes kidnapping, murders, and it is the reflection of inequality and the possibility that human rights cannot be realized. These problems that affect Haiti has to do with the quality of its institutions, and we need to talk about how to address this problem to strengthen its institutions and protect the inalienable rights of its citizens. A new, more inclusive society based on dialogue, democracy, a whole host of rights, socioeconomic rights, definitively strengthening Haitian institutions, specifically those that have to do with security. We must unite efforts with Haiti, as we have always done in this organization. Our organization has worked in many sectors in Haiti. We must do this and continue to address structural problems, current problems, the crisis, because this is a political and economic crisis. We have always promoted dialogue in Haiti. The Permanent Council on several occasions has facilitated dialogue in Haiti. The General Secretariat also has, on several occasions, also done so. Missions, for example, like Sir Ronald Sanders and myself, we have several times been engaged with Haiti. We continue to work with local communities, and we must work on training of the national police. But as I have stated previously, we must have a vision that is long-term to be able to resolve structural crises based on inclusive dialogue, to definitively overcome this political crisis and to go down the path to a more just society, greater stability and opportunities for the Haitian people. We must continue to address structural reforms of the political system in Haiti to be able to consolidate these so that people can express their will in transparent and free elections. It is essential and important to have a clear, defined roadmap and to know what we will do tomorrow. And after having heard the presentation today, I am convinced that the fight for democracy in Haiti means that there must be long-term efforts and joint efforts with Haitians, but fundamentally an effort of Haitians. It is not a short road, it's not an easy road, but with the will to resolve the political crisis, to have an inclusive dialogue, to resolve the security problems. And all of us need to support that and need to do this work. What you have requested, the definition of priorities that you have laid out, are more than acceptable for us, and we commit to working on these priorities. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Minister.
General for their comments. Minister, allow me, on behalf of the OAS Permanent Council, to express once again our most sincere appreciation to you for your presence here this morning and for your remarks. Before adjourning the meeting, I kindly request that delegations remain in their seats to allow for the regular session of the Permanent Council to begin. The meeting is adjourned. Adjourned.
Virtual format and convening over 240 participants from indigenous communities, the private sector, and governments. SETI also integrated sustainable development practices in the COVID-19 response. The pandemic is a daily reminder of the links between water, health, sanitation, food security, and nutrition. We ensured the continuity of our water management projects in the Plata Basin and worked with governments and partners in the design of an investment portfolio valued at $90 million. Additionally, the Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas continued to share relevant best practices and responses to the pandemic on energy and air quality. These few examples indicate our collective impact. We cannot do this alone. It is now more urgent than ever to address the region's structural weaknesses, to recover from the health, economic, and social crises occasioned by the pandemic and prepare for future shocks. It is imperative that we work together as we risk losing recent development gains and seeing millions fall back into poverty. It is time for the region to redirect course and pursue a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for all. We are in this together.
But the resilience building agenda is too big for any one stakeholder to address acting alone, and simply bringing together stakeholders, whether at the national, subnational, regional, or global level, is not enough. Effective, focused, and sustained coordination among stakeholders is paramount to provide countries with integrated and comprehensive support.
The OAS, as a hemispheric forum and honest broker, must continue to facilitate this process while we work with member states towards the attainment of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. cooperation, collaboration, and partnerships that include all actors strengthen us, enabling us to be more than the sum of our parts. We can and we must work together. The future of our region depends on it.
Colleagues, I am pleased to declare open this regular meeting of the Permanent Council convened to consider the items contained in the order of business, document CIPI/OD 2391/22, which I hereby submit for the consideration of this council. Excellencies, respectfully, I'd ask you to take your seats. There being no observations, we will proceed to adopt it without amendment. Adopted. Before proceeding to the next item on the order of business, I wish to express our condolences to the delegation of Mexico on the passing of Ambassador Gustavo Albin, permanent representative of Mexico from 2007 to 2011. We extend our deepest condolences to his family and friends. On another note, allow me, on behalf of the Permanent Council, to congratulate the peoples and governments of Bolivia and Jamaica on the celebration of their national days on August 6th, as well as the people and government of Ecuador, which celebrated its National Day on August 10th. Allow me also to convey congratulations to the people and government of St. Kitts and Nevis on their August 5th elections, and to extend congratulations to the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew on becoming the new Prime Minister. Before moving on to the next item on the agenda, as many of you may know, our colleague and friend Bradley Friden is leaving the Permanent Council as interim representative of the United States to the OAS. At the end of our meeting, during any other business, we will provide an opportunity for delegations to bid him farewell and extend to him well-deserved best wishes for success in his upcoming assignments. We will now proceed to the next item on the order of business, which is the presentation of the annual report of the Pan-American Institute for Geography and History to the 52nd regular session of the General Assembly. The report was distributed as document CIPI Doc 5765/22. On behalf of the Permanent Council, I extend a cordial welcome to Mr. Antonio Campuzano Rosales, Secretary General of the Pan-American Institute of Geography and History. Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning to each and every one of you, Madam Chair of the Permanent Council, Secretary General, representatives of the member states, and of the permanent observer countries. Thank you very much for the invitation to take part in this meeting today. Today we're going to present the annual report of the Pan-American Institute for Geography and History for 2021. And thus, I'd like to recognize Cesar Rodriguez Tomeo, my advisor, who engaged in many of the activities to help me present and prepare this report. It's an honor for me to be the one who presents this to this Permanent Council of the Organization of American States. The activities of this General Secretariat of the Pan American Institute for Geography History are geared towards the main areas of action: science, finance, and administration. To achieve the objectives that have been laid out in several different actions, electing the authorities for 2022-2025 to approve the 2022 budget and reach a consensus for approving the new organic statute. We are obligated to conduct our activities in an effective and efficient way. However, at this stage in 2021, we had to work virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only affected the whole world, but the PAIGH, who conducted its activities virtually at distance. In the scientific area, the PAIG have to do with fostering and coordinating all the areas relating to the institute. Its grant program, its dissemination program, and scientific technical collaboration as well. In the area of finance, it's focused on the budgets, austerity and responsible planning are the guiding principles that we follow, the payment of quotas by the member states, the budget executed in 2021, and the 2022 budget and financial reports and cooperating partners. Likewise, in the administrative area, its efforts are focused on the statutorily provided for meetings, the committee meetings, and we held meetings with the authorities, meetings of the committees themselves, consultation meetings of the committees, and the 22nd General Assembly. In addition to this, the administration area has to do with modernization of the structure of the headquarters of the Pan American Institute for Geography and History, which is located in a palace in Tacuaya in Mexico City. Specifically in the scientific area, in 2021, this program, through the 4 committees, financed 4 projects that benefited 17 countries that belong to the institute. And likewise, 84 grants were provided through the different committees. Prizes were also issued or awarded to $134,000 worth. But in the publication program in 2021, there were scientific papers written, there was institutional communication was strengthened through the website and the social networks, and there was an increase of, we expanded the network. And in the 94th anniversary, we began working virtually. And we tried to find synergy with different institutions and individuals. This activity was focused on analyzing the results of the technical assistance program through discussions and seminars. In the financial area, the results were significant. Austerity and responsible planning of expenditures are the main traits of the financial area. This current financial situation of the PAIGH is a result of the arrears and payment of quotas of several. It's $1 million have not been disbursed to us. Significant savings have been used to overcome these problems over the course of 2021. Likewise, the budget put together by the accounting department for 2022 was approved at the 22nd General Assembly, which was held in October of 2021. Both the financial reports as well as the audit report of 2020 were submitted in a timely fashion to the Organization of American States. We continue to find more fundraising sources through partners. We have 21 of the member states did pay what they had committed to and were supposed to. And when it comes to the administrative errors, we focused on holding the meetings according to this twice a year, committee meetings, authority meetings, consultation meetings of the committees, and the 22nd General Assembly. This meeting in October of 2021 virtually was of great importance because in addition to planning our activities, we'd made decisions such as the election of the Secretary General, who for the first time ever there were two candidates, in the approval of the organic statute of the Pan American Institute for Geography and History. We also elected the chair and vice chair, and we ratified the vice chairs of the committees and chairs, and we approved the 2022 budget. There was a significant event happened for the first time in 90 some odd years that Pan American Institute now has a chair and vice president who are women. This shows women's leadership, which today is very gratifying to the PAIGH. We also held, there were a lot of improvements to technology and of infrastructure, or replacement of, for example, of different aspects of the headquarters building, the palace of the Pan American Institute for Geography and History, and we improved internet connection through optic fiber. This enables better communication between the General Secretariat and the 21 countries that make up the Pan American community of the Pan American Institute for Geography and History. The PAIGH is a specialized organization of the OAS whose mission is to foster these areas of interest, such as cartography, geography, history, and geophysics, as well as related branches of sciences. In this important task, it organizes all of it in areas of scientific, financial, and administrative. And the scientific areas is what our institution is focused on. 17 countries took part in this Pan-American effort, and we continue to disseminate the product of our work to achieve these goals. As part of the General Assembly, we elected the authorities from 2022 to 2025, as I've said, and we approved the budget and the organic statute. For the first time in the Harris, the election of the Secretary General had more than one candidate for the position, and because of the health emergency, important savings were made without detriment to the activities of the Institute itself, because we held all activities virtually, and in the end, we had a financial surplus as a result of this substantive savings. What we do is we place science at the service of peace, which is our motto on behalf of the continent of the Americas. So, as Secretary General, it's very gratifying to me to say that the Pan American Institute for Geography and History, despite the pandemic-caused problems, continued to work on a regular basis. And today, more than ever, we can say that science is at the service of peace at the PAIGH. And for this reason, I am grateful for your attention, and I am available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Mr. Secretary General, I offer the floor to the delegations that wish to refer to this item on the agenda. I see no requests for the floor. As there are no comments, I'm sorry. I recognize Chile. Chile, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to remind you that after 90 years of being operating, this institute has conducted many projects and providing opportunities and tools to the member states that make it up. We must mention especially that the technical assistance programs and the 4 committees that finance all these multinational projects. Among these, we want to underscore the migration crisis and pandemic project in the first decades of the 21st century, in which Chile, Argentina, Uruguay took part, as well as the design and inclusive geography workshop, which was connected to sustainable development. Colombia, Costa Rica, Argentina, El Salvador, the United States and Mexico and Peru and the Dominican Republic all took part in that workshop. Cartography is vital to geography because many people with disabilities need that these studies be conducted to improve their plight. So we thank you and hail Germán Manriquez Tirado as chair and Mr. Parejas as vice chairs, who are co-nationals. We'd like to thank you for this presentation of this 2021 report, and we urge the Pan American Institute to continue in this Pan American spirit as in 1928 was laid out, and to continue in its efforts. Thank you very much.
If there are no further comments, I once again thank the Secretary General of the Pan American Institute of Geography and History for the report presented, and through him, congratulate the members of the Directorate and the entire team for the results achieved. If there are no further observations, the Chair suggests that the Permanent Council take note of the presentation of the 2021 Annual Report of the I will pause here to offer the floor to Mexico. Mexico, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My delegation takes note and expresses its gratitude to for the presentation of Antonio Campuzano, the Secretary General. Mexico recognizes the efforts of the Institute with regard to fostering and coordination of studies, surveys, as well as establishing partnerships for and fostering these topics of importance to all of the members. The Institute, whose headquarters, it's headquartered in Mexico City, engages in this cartography, history, geophysics, and throughout the Americas. The PAIGH is a specialized body that's very important to all of our country. And particularly important is cartography to show, and it supports research and scientific dissemination. My country supports the Secretary General, and since last year he's tried to strengthen this through the strategic plan and the modernization plan 2022-2025 to push forward more dissemination of these studies for the member states. Mexico reiterates its commitment to these purposes and efforts of the Institute in the region and is looking forward to the upcoming General Assembly in Quito, Ecuador from the 25th to 26th of October this year, where Mexico will engage in helping with this work. Thank you, Madam Chair.
As there are no further observations, the Chair suggests that the Permanent Council take note of the presentation of the 2021 Annual Report of the Pan American Institute of Geography and History by its Secretary General, as well as of the comments expressed by the delegations. These comments will be transmitted to the General Assembly at its 52nd regular session. There being no objections, it is so agreed. Our next agenda item is the presentation of the annual report of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture to the 52nd regular session of the General Assembly. The report was distributed as document CP Doc 5768/22, in addition to the country reports distributed in Addendum 1 of the said document. On behalf of the Permanent Council, I extend a cordial welcome to the Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. Mr. Manuel Otero, welcome back to the OAS Permanent Council. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Greetings to the authorities at the head table, the ambassadors. I would like to begin very briefly with my brief remarks expressing my backing to the Foreign Minister of Haiti. I want to mention a few weeks ago he was here and took part in a historic summit of ministers of agriculture from Africa and Haiti. Of Africa and the Americas. The Minister of Agriculture of Haiti, that is, took part in this. In the time I've been allotted, I would like to briefly present, make a brief presentation and talk about the different achievements of ICA over the last 4 years, particularly changes that we're implementing in my second term that began last January 17th. If you will allow, put the presentation next slide, please. Oh, fine. So this would be the 4 events that I'm going to talk about. So this is sort of the content. So move on to the next slide, please. I wanted to very succinctly emphasize that over these 4 years, we've consolidated ICA as a platform for the management of knowledge, and we've established mechanisms of dialogue with all the actors in the agro-food industry. We've generated an unprecedented consensus, which has allowed us to position the continent at the summit of food systems, which was held recently in New York. We're making efforts to be more to do this in more coordinated fashion and integrated fashion. We have a business model that makes up includes different units at the level of countries as well as at headquarters. We have noticed efforts have been made in the area of communication, which is very important in technical cooperation, and a future view, a vision for the future of innovative agriculture with a human face that has to be resilient, sustainable, and of course productive. This is intensive agriculture and the knowledge thereof, and that's what we're working with countries on. Next slide. The changes that have taken place over the last lately, that is, where we've witnessed a multidimensional crisis, make it important to change our roadmap. If you can see on the right side, we are witnessing a lot of tension with regard to the global food security. This is a scenario that's quite uncertain and volatile. There's changes in agriculture's role in economy and in society, and consolidating the bioeconomy and focusing on agri-food systems is impossible. A third factor is the synergy that must exist between production and prioritizing climate action in relation to agriculture and agri-system. Also, we need investment in strengthening our teaching and research tools. And then lastly, challenges and opportunities for governance and institutional frameworks. Next slide, please. I'd like to emphasize here that in the new context that has emerged, there has been accelerated growth in commodity prices. There's signs that concern us with regard to restrictions to agri-food trade. there's increases in the price of energy, and this doesn't bode well for agriculture, which is a sector that depends on energy. And so therefore, this is an issue that we must overcome with regard to trade and price of fertilizers. And as a result of all this, of these changes, I would like to ask to put up the next slide should come up. And ICA focuses its action on climate action. It focuses attention on agricultural sustainability. We're working together in the area of international trade, but particularly regional integration. In the view of ICA, it's fundamental to focus on territorial development and family farming. We have 16 million family farmers, digital agriculture as well, including youth and women in productive processes, innovation, and of course, we have to remember health, safety, and food safety, that is. We have an observatory of policies for the transformation of agri-food systems, and we've launched a new school for leaders for the transformation of agri-food systems in the Americas. This is the core of our strategies and our technical assistance that we're starting to implement. Next slide, please. ICA defines itself as a bridge and advocate for collective action for transformation of agri-food systems in the Americas. It ratifies, it belongs to the inter-American system, but ICA looks outward from the region to the world. That's why we held the summit with the ministers of agriculture of Africa, and we're building bridges to establish dialogue with European ministers as well. In any case, we're an open door institution. Next slide. ICA leads efforts to strengthen the role of agriculture in the Americas in addressing the greatest global challenges. Firstly, we're working together towards the COP27 in Egypt. On September 23rd, the ministers of agriculture will meet at the headquarters here in San Jose, Costa Rica, to agree upon a common position to be presented at the COP27 in Egypt. And this occasion, for the first time in the history of COPs, we're going to present a whole pavilion of agriculture in the Americas, and we're going to show the world our food systems, that these, of course, we can improve on our systems, but thanks to the work of our farmers and science and innovation, there are many positive things that are taking place in agriculture and in rural areas. This building of bridges includes Africa, to Africa as well. We've already engaged in dialogue with the ministers of agriculture of Africa. These are two fundamental continents for the future of agri-food systems throughout the world. And I also want to point out we've built bridges, and we're going to hold a ministerial meeting to promote regulatory convergence and see if we can work together to strengthen inter-regional trade. And then I want to remind you that October 7th, ICA is proud to announce that we will hit our 80th anniversary since our creation. And so we're embracing global society, and we're going to launch the Plaza of Agriculture of the Americas. And I'd like to emphasize that agriculture and life is the future of our continent. And therefore, the major role of our producers and our ministries of agriculture and the support provided by authorities of the OAS that we're very grateful for, we underscore our support for this inter-American system to provide support that I say that is for the lives and the future of our country. Thank you.
I offer the floor to the delegations that wish to refer to this item on the agenda. I recognize El Salvador.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary General. My delegation would like to thank Mr. Manuel Otero, Director General of ICA, for the presentation of this year's annual report. In recent years, the agricultural sector has faced many challenges. Climate change, which directly affects agricultural production. Together with this, the extensive effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the supply chain, and this has hit hard vulnerable sectors. In this adverse situation, the fight against food insecurity is a shared challenge for the public and private sectors. El Salvador has determined that it needs to reactivate its agricultural sector, and it has a plan to be able to stimulate investment, production, diversification, and value added through modernization of the sector, with the aim of increasing profitability and competitiveness of this sector based on environmental sustainability. We would like to thank ICA for its support to be able to reach the objectives of our agricultural plan through technical assistance, training, interinstitutional agreements for support, production of legumes, among others. This is a strategy to strengthen food security and to reduce dependency on imports. At the same time, Madam Chair, we highlight that this year El Salvador is now part of the ICA plan for carbon capture, and this involves public policies, the private sector, and restoration of soils in the hemisphere to ensure nutritional and food security in the region. We would like to thank ICA for the presentation of its report. We recognize its work and reiterate our commitment to the objectives laid out for the Americas for food and nutritional security. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Costa Rica has the floor. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, permanent observers, ambassadors, Secretary General, delegates. I welcome the Director General. Costa Rica thanks you for the annual report of ICA by Mr. Manuel Otero. He has shared the results of the work undertaken and the technical assistance provided to states in 2021. Recent years have shown the strategic importance of agriculture in the world, especially with respect to the challenges that we face in the hemisphere. Costa Rica recognizes ICA's support for a regional plan for Central America based on an exhaustive assessment of the challenges of the region, and that were presented to the agricultural ministers at the meeting of CAC and other political forums. We want to highlight 3 points in this report. First, the efforts undertaken in the framework of digitization of cooperatives implemented with Cooperativa Sin Fronteras. An assessment was made of the potential of digitization of 4 cooperatives in Costa Rica, and a roadmap was laid out to transfer technologies that are innovative and also to give these to other cooperatives. Secondly, in the framework of the Digital Manufacturing Observatory of ICA, 160 users of the platform were able to coordinate with the Ministry of Technology in Costa Rica, including users throughout Costa Rica. And third, the strategic partnership between the European Union and ICA, which propitiated establishment of 5 committees in the countries of Central America, the definition of a strategic model for management and a strategic plan, which is through the Central American corridor, also strategic objectives in 93 parcels, and implementation of 7 initiatives in coffee growing and ranching, as well as vegetables and grains. There was an assessment of the territories intervened in, a model of participatory involvement of farmers, training, and others. To conclude, I wanted to highlight the important words of Dr. Manuel Otero, who has said that agri-foods production is essential for the transformation of agri-food systems. Science is the main input to have an appropriate policy with respect to the sector. We reiterate once again Costa Rica's commitment to ICA to be able to achieve these goals, and also we congratulate it on its upcoming 80th anniversary. Chile has the floor. Thank you, Chair. Chile would like to thank Dr. Manuel Otero from ICA for the presentation of the annual report. This confirms the importance of having a modern institute to help the world and the region so that there is intensive agriculture based on knowledge and therefore inclusive and sustainable. This is important for the economy and for development, and it allows for sustainable management in rural areas. I'd like to give some examples of what ICA is doing in Chile. One of these is that the Ministry of Agriculture in Chile, with the support of ICA, implemented in 5 regions an irrigation system. This was using innovation and traditional irrigation systems so that there was money saved. This was done through water that was reused, and it's based on using pots that are made of clay. Also, the INDAP, which is the Development of Agriculture Institute in Chile, some Mapuche members of our community have been growing fruits and vegetables, and so they have taken, for example, olive oil to the market. A third line that is interesting, in order to mitigate climate change, the Institute for Agricultural Research has a project to use climate intelligence systems to be able to counter adverse impacts of rice growing. For example, methane that has an impact on climate change. So we have rice that mitigates GHGs, uses less seed and water, and allows for growing rice on more lands. Other contributions have been done with the University of Chile, the creation of a diploma in rural agriculture, also support for seeds for fruit tree growing in order to recover different lands. Madam Chair, these are just examples of what ICA has done for member states of the OAS. The mission of Chile would like to reiterate its congratulations, and we appreciate the support given to member states to have agricultural development and rural well-being. Thank you. Canada has the floor.
Please allow me to
Very much, Dr. Otero.
food security and the well-being of farmers across the Americas. For Canada, the IICA's technical capacity to design and deliver agricultural projects to improve food security, promote trade, and build prosperity in the Western Hemisphere is very important. Canada shares the Institute's view on the importance of open, science-based, and rules-based agri-food trade for improving food security. We also share the view that a strong culture of innovation is what drives a productive and competitive agriculture and food industry. We need to make sure that our farmers have the tools to increase their productivity and produce sustainably. In this respect, Canada believes that the IICA can play a role in promoting the importance of biotechnology as one of the tools available to farmers in our region. In closing, this year, as we celebrate both the IICA's 80th anniversary and the 50th anniversary of Canada's membership, I wish to reaffirm Canada's openness to future collaborations with the IICA to improve food security and the prosperity of farmers in the America. Merci.
Thank you.
Bolivia has the floor. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Secretary General, distinguished ambassadors. Good morning. We thank Dr. Manuel Otero, the Director General of ICA, for the presentation of the Institute's annual report, and it shows the efforts of the Institute despite the pandemic. In Bolivia, food security is a right recognized in our Constitution, and food sovereignty is a structural pillar of our government. That is why in the last 15 years, we have been strengthening the agricultural sector, and we produce 90% of the food we consume. In this context, the support of the Institute has been important to strengthen policies aimed at ensuring food sovereignty. In 2021, we have had the coordinated support of ICA with the Ministry of Rural Development and other institutions, this with respect to production, family farms, and others. Modernizing agricultural systems has meant that we have had improvements in 98 districts. An example is in the municipality of Culpina, where we had the implementation of a plant for bio inputs, which meant that production costs went down. We have also improved capacities of farmers, both in marketing food and producing food. We have had the development of training courses for the agricultural sector and specialized personnel that work for the government with respect to different kinds of issues, marketing, family farming, etc. For all of these reasons, we would like to thank the Institute for the work done in Bolivia that has always respected our sovereignty. We believe that the Institute is very important within the work of the Inter-American system because it helps our countries have food sovereignty. And we believe that the work with ECLAC is important because ECLAC has pointed out that SDG 2 is very important in the work with ICA. This is to put an end to poverty and also to promote sustainable agriculture in the Americas. Thank you.
I'll offer you the floor for any closing remarks which you might like to make.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I would like to thank ambassadors for their comments with regard to the work of ICA, and I commit to undertaking even greater efforts. The agricultural sector is strategic, and it contributes not only to food sovereignty, but also environmental sustainable and the energy transition. And so our hemisphere has the farmers, it has the resources to be able to forge ahead. I am honored to have participated in this meeting, and I reiterate the full commitment of ICA to the Inter-American system, and I thank you very much.
If there are no further comments, I once again thank the Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture for the report presented, and through him, congratulate the members of the General Directorate and the entire ICA team for the results achieved. If there are no further observations, the Chair suggests that the Permanent Council take note of the presentation of the 2021 Annual Report of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture by the Secretary General, as well by its Secretary General, as well as the comments expressed by the delegations. These comments will be transmitted to the General Assembly at its 52nd regular session. There being no objections, it is so agreed. Let us now proceed to the approval of the draft resolution, Cost Recovery System of the General Secretariat of the Organization of American States for projects financed with specific funds, contained in document CP Cap 3835/22, as presented by the Chair of the Committee on Administrative and Budgetary Affairs. The Chair has been informed that after the last regular session of this Council, the CAP reviewed this matter again without amending this draft resolution. In this regard, if there are no objections, it is the Bahamas. You have the floor.
Sorry, Madam Chair, we're having some technological issues here. There you go. Madam Chair, I would like to thank first of all, good morning or good afternoon to all, and pleasure to see you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to thank the Committee for Administration and Budgetary Affairs and the Secretariat for Administration and Finance for acting with dispatch and convening a meeting to offer some clarification and qualification to the proposal that was presented at the Council's last session and that which is reprised at today's meeting. Madam Chair, given the gravity and the implications of the said proposal, while it is my delegation's preference to memorialize an appropriate amendment via the resolution which is before us today, so as to enable the prompt passage and of agenda items 5 and 6 respectively, and in illustration of my delegation's flexibility and accommodation, my delegation would like to propose that we proceed with the approval. However, I would like to read into the record of this Permanent Council text that should be incorporated into the omnibus resolution for the forthcoming General Assembly. With your permission, Chair, I would like to read into the text the proposed amendment that will go into the omnibus resolution. I will begin, open quotations, to request that the General Secretariat, as part of the implementation of the new cost recovery system, conduct an annual analysis of the impact of the new policy and report on the results to CAP by no later than the end of the third quarter of each year, full stop. The analysis should highlight, results achieved, any negative financial impacts, including those for the areas which previously received ICR as a substantial portion of funded positions or activities, cover inter alia, the impact of the new policy on the level of incoming voluntary funds and on the nature and scope of donor-funded projects, and include results from consultations with donors and OAS project managers / executing entities and identify areas for improvement for the consideration of member states, full stop. The semi-annual financial report produced by the General Secretariat will also include analysis on intake and distribution of ICR and proceeds from the cost recovery system across the General Secretariat. Madam Chair, it is my delegation's intent to circulate this through the Secretariat for CAP and also onto through your office for circulation onto the member states. Madam Chair, I would like to also thank the delegations of Canada, Brazil, and the United States, and particularly the chair of CAP for accommodating and facilitating this approach. The intent here is to ensure that what we do does not have a long-standing and negative impact on the financial management and financial governance of the organization, and for us to be able to take mitigating measures with some level of responsiveness. So, Madam Chair, with that, my delegation would like to agree that we proceed today so we can enable items 5 and 6 to proceed and then incorporate this. Thank you so much for your moment, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Bahamas. The chair notes the recommendations made by the Bahamas for the necessary action of the CAP. In that respect, I note the Ambassador of Mexico requesting the floor. Mexico, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Briefly, just to indicate that Mexico agrees with the Bahamas proposal. Thank you, Chair.
Still, you have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors. First of all, I wanted to thank the ambassador from the Bahamas, Ambassador Neymar, for his flexibility and his work on approval of this draft resolution. It's important for our organization. And also thank third parties that have made donations. So I wanted to praise the paragraph that was proposed by Bahamas, which through the presentation of a report will allow for important definitions to be made for the financial and budgetary system of this organization. I would also like to thank the delegations who have worked so hard to promote dialogue and that allowed for this draft resolution to be presented. And so we think this will be good for the financial health of the organization. Finally, thanks to the flexibility of Ambassador Neymar, Brazil would like to co-sponsor the proposal made by the mission of Bahamas for the omnibus resolution. Thank you.
Chair, and let me simply this morning also add my voice of thanks to the Ambassador of the Bahamas for his flexibility and for the text that he proposed this morning, which is a text that we also support. And let me also thank Brazil for their leadership of the CAP and their leadership as well in addressing this and many other challenging issues that we have before us. I think we're all working towards the same objective, which is to do our best to make this a strong an institution as possible. And we are very grateful for the efforts and the discussion that we had this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Canada. I now recognize the United States.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just briefly, the United States would like to thank Ambassador Nemor and the Bahamas for the paragraph which will be included in the budget resolution. At the same time, we thank Brazil for its hard work building the agreement that leads to this decision. The language in this paragraph addresses some key concerns for us, and the United States supports it.
Thank you, United States. Having taken note of the comments and input by the Bahamas, and noting that there are no objections, the draft resolution is approved. Approved. Let us now proceed to the approval of the draft resolution, authorization to use resources from the Indirect Cost Recovery Reserve Subfund to partially finance the demand notes of the GSB, contained in document CP Cap 3834/22 Rev 1, as presented by the Chair of the Committee on Administrative and Budgetary Affairs. As noted with the previous agenda item, the Chair has been informed that the CAP reviewed this matter again without amending this draft resolution. In this regard, if there are no objections, it is approved. Approved. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the invitations to civil society organizations, workers, the private sector, and other social actors to the 52nd regular session of the General Assembly, for which authorization by the Permanent Council is required, as contained in the report of the General Secretariat and the draft resolution contained in document CP Doc 5799/22 Rev 1. I would like to ask delegations if we are able to approve this draft resolution. If there are no objections, it is approved. Approved. Pardon me. Peru, I recognize you. Please.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to briefly take the floor to mention the progress being made in Peru to host civil society. To date, the dialogue will probably be Wednesday the 5th in the morning. And we also have planned for civil society to be present at the plenary of the Assembly. In the same room, there should be 150 seats for civil society, and there will be also another room with screens where the overflow of civil society can sit. So just to inform you that the preparations for the civil society dialogue everything's going very well.
Let us now proceed to the next item on our order of business, which is the adoption of the following minutes. Acta 2326 of the regular meeting of June 30th, 2021. Acta 2332 of the special meeting of August 11th, 2021. Acta 2338 of the regular meeting of September 15th, 2021. Acta 2339 of the special meeting of September 17th, 2021. Acta 2345 of the regular meeting of October 6th, 2021. Acta 2347 of the regular meeting of November 3rd, 2021. Acta 2348 of the regular meeting of November 4th, 2021. Acta 2349 of the special meeting of November 22nd, 2021. If there are no comments, we will proceed to adopt them. Approved. Distinguished colleagues, we now move to other business. But before giving the floor to delegations, as I announced at the beginning of this meeting, I would like to offer the floor to Mr. Bradley Friden and be the first to wish him success in his future endeavors. Thank you for your contributions to the OAS and to this Permanent Council, Mr. Friden. The floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, Madam Chair. It's very kind of you. I will not take much of your time, but I did want to take the opportunity to say farewell to all of you. I didn't get a chance to do it before I left for my onward assignment, but I just want to thank each and every one of you for your friendship and your support. It has really been an honor and a privilege to serve with all of you in the role of an acting or interim permanent representative, and the manner in which you ambassadors accepted my presence and Tom's presence, for that matter, the fact that we have for so long been without an ambassador, but yet this council has extended us every courtesy and gone beyond that. So I'm deeply grateful. I just would make a couple of observations from the 2 years at the OAS and a year and a half as the interim permanent rep. The first, and some of these are so obvious, I mean, the importance of continuing the dialogue, especially when we disagree. I had many fruitful discussions with ambassadors, permanent representatives from countries, representing the countries with which we had deep disagreement, but continuing that dialogue and not allowing that to get in the way of personal friendship, I think was for me an important takeaway. I think we should never forget that we're doing something very meaningful and important here in this room, and I certainly was never forgot that. Much of the time that I was in the chair, we were dealing with the challenge of COVID, and I think that really demonstrated the resilience of the organization, the ability to continue operating at nearly full capacity during the pandemic. Just says a tremendous amount about the staff of this organization. So let me just close with three observations, three things that I personally think are very important. First is humility and self-awareness. I believe that that my country and our mission should always keep in mind the principles of humility and the awareness of how we're perceived by other countries in our behavior, and sometimes we lose sight of that. And here I'm speaking out of school, of course, because I'm no longer in the position and I can do that. But the second is what a great team that we have at the U.S. mission. I'm deeply grateful to have been able to work with everyone in our U.S. mission. And the third is that, and this came as somewhat of a shock to me in the midway through my tenure, is that threats to democracy affect all of us. And the OAS, this organization, needs to continue to stick to its principles, and I know it will. With that, just I would ask that you please keep in touch. I hope we can continue to have an ongoing friendship. And as I always tell people, you can take the diplomat out of the OAS, but you can't take the OAS out of the diplomat. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Freden, for your remarks. Thank you, delegates. Mr. Freden, that is a show of the appreciation of the Permanent Council. I now recognize Costa Rica.
Muchísimas gracias, señora Presidenta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to thank Mr. Brad Frieden for his leadership. When our agenda coincided often, and his fellowship and all these years that he's as the acting permanent head of the U.S. mission, and we wish him the best in his future positions at the Pentagon. Great success to you. You're a great friend.
I'm sure I'm so glad, Brad, that we can see you here in person. We spent a couple of years, of course, not getting, and that's how we first got to meet you, was in a camera. And so I'm glad you have some time to be with us this morning or this afternoon. You know, there's many things that we all should know about Brad. I think one of the most important is at some point early in your life, you thought jumping out of airplanes was a really good idea. And I don't want to kind of overstate the impact that might have had on your future career, although I suspect it had some. But I think probably one of the things it did was made you very willing and open to try new things, to try new adventures, and to take on new challenges, even jumping into the unknown, which is what you did here and what you did with us, and what you did so well over the course of the last couple of years. Brad, if you look back at his CV, he's somebody who's done actually some really important things and some really brave things in his career as well. And yet you mentioned the importance of humility, and that I think you encapsulate as a person immensely. You are deferential, you are humble, you are thoughtful, and when you meet with us one-on-one or as a group, that always comes across. And you always come across as somebody who is listening because you're somebody who does. And I think we all see that, and we've all noticed that in our interactions with you. The point you made about a willingness to dialogue, that, I mean, encapsulates Brad Frieden to a T. A willingness to dialogue even with those who might hold different points of view. And despite your somewhat, I've got to say, special attraction to jumping out of airplanes, you're somebody who's very grounded in your personality, very grounded in what you do with us. And you can see that not only in your professional work, but in the pride that you take in your family, in your kids, and in their accomplishments as well. And all of us, certainly as diplomats, bring our families along with us, and you've made them very much, I think, part of your career too. It has been said that you don't need a title to be a leader. I think that's true. You have the title of interim representative, but you've been more than that. You have been, in all but name, an ambassador of the United States to this organization. And you talked a little bit about your honor and privilege of having been with us, but I think it's us who've had the honor and privilege of getting to know you over the last 2 years. Good luck. Please do keep in touch, and Godspeed going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Canada. I now recognize Uruguay.
Thank you, Chair. Brad, dear Brad, and frankly, we're going to miss you a lot. We're really going to miss you because we always found in you a worthy representative of the United States, someone who was always rose to the occasion and was so devoted, somebody who grasps the multilateral dynamic and somehow multiplies it, so to speak. I believe the key for all of us here is ongoing learning, continuing learning. After day we learn one way or another. We interconnect visions, perspectives, dimensions, ways of viewing and understanding the world and trying to create areas of common cause. Otherwise, this would be futile. We're all different but very similar. We're all from the same continents. And that's pretty important. It's a big thing, and you understand it real well because of the role of your own country. You're a son of Washington, Lincoln, Madison. So many founding fathers. It's not easy to wear that jersey. You can't it's tough to carry that banner, and you've always done it well. Nobody reaches the heights that you have without explicit recognition. Nobody gave away for free those applause you just got. You're the one who earned it. You yourself earned it, and that was really worth it. It's very intangible. I know your kids. I know your family, your children, your life. And you were in my country, too. And we really love you. And good luck at the Pentagon, Brad.
Gracias, Presidenta. Bueno.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to join into the chorus with Venezuela. So as we bid farewell of Brad Frieden, this is a farewell and give him our best wishes for success at the Department of Defense. We appreciate you. We're grateful to you, your capacity and your leadership of the mission that you were in charge of for the 2 years. You're so open to dialogue and collaboration and teamwork and special deference, and that I'm grateful for, that you showed towards the mission that I had. And I also want to thank the U.S. mission that you were in charge of over these last 2 years for all of the collaboration and support provided to the permanent mission of Venezuela. I wish to you sincerely, to you, your family, the most success. And we hope since we're in the same city still, that we're continuing contact and friends. Big hug. Thank you, Madam Chair. The delegation of Ecuador takes the floor because the presence of Bradley Frieden here, Brad, at this forum, has been highly appreciated, and his absence will be very noticed because of the professional role he's played. He's been also showed himself as a great human being. This place will be occupied by someone else who's also has showed human quality and professional capacity. It's not a new face that we have here taking his place, but my delegation is not bidding farewell to Brad. It's an honor and a privilege to have shared this space with him. We wish him success in his future activities, and to continue his productive activities in the company of his family. May the path be pleasant and your tasks light and future be fine. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Dear Brad, I'd like to express my gratitude and satisfaction for having met you and worked with you, and to have your friendship and professionalism here at the OAS as the acting representative of the U.S. You've always showed such professionalism and openness and courtesy, defending the positions of your country, as has just been mentioned. But it's an important task to defend democracy in the hemisphere, which you've done. You showed how open to dialogue you are. So I personally, and all my colleagues in the Brazilian delegation, wish success to you and your family, and health in your next steps in your career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, colleagues, excellencies all. When I was a young man, which was many, many moons ago, I used to be a student of science fiction. And I read one of my major authors, my most celebrated and interesting authors, was Kurt Vonnegut Jr. And he termed in one of his books the term a karass, K-A-R-A-S-S. If you read any of Kurt Vonnegut's books, he speaks of this karass. A karass is supposedly a network or a group of people that, unknown to them, are linked specifically to fulfill the will of God. And you're born into a karass, and you pass by this way only once. But most of the people that you come in contact with is never by coincidence. You were always meant to come in contact with them. Now, when I met Brad, unlike most of the other diplomats that I have met, because if you're on this road in Washington, the lane of humility is not very much trafficked. And therefore, when I met Brad Frieden, I could not have imagined in a million years that a diplomat of his caliber, having done all the things that he had done and all the experiences that he had, was as humble and as truthful and as engaging and as willing to assist as he was. Diplomats from large developed countries seem always to be very cautious about how they deal with other people, particularly people from small developing states like mine. But Brad was always there willing to help. We first met on Zoom, and because of the way the screen is projected, I thought he was a 6'5" guy. I really thought that he was a really tall and big man. I never would have imagined that his physical stature was what it was. It really betrayed the type of things I had heard. A man who, as the ambassador from Canada said, who really thought that jumping out of planes was an important part of the development of life. Brad, I really want to thank you for all that you have done for this assembly, all that you've done for our people, all that you've brought into this assembly and into the development of the OAS through your experiences and your background. I don't believe in goodbyes. Like Romeo and Juliet is a bittersweet moment all the time, because we envision what will happen when we meet again. So on behalf of the government and the people of my country, of Barbados, my family and I wish you only the best in whatever your future endeavors are. Godspeed, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbados. And now offer the floor to Mexico.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad to be here to bid farewell to Brad Fradden. The U.S. and Mexico share this common border, and we are engaged in respect and dialogue and mutual trust in the framework of a strategic, long-term bilateral relationship. Brad, my delegation recognizes your hard work and the service of the interests of your country and the OAS. So I wish you success in your next position. We are grateful for your institutionality and your willingness to engage in dialogue, your sensibility, and we highly value all these things. Good luck, esteemed colleague. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair, my delegation is ever grateful for having this opportunity to bid best wishes to the Honorable Bradley Frieden. It is my intent that I've addressed Brad as honorable. You truly have exemplified being a diplomat of great honor. I've had the privilege of meeting Brad during my second tour of duty, and we've exchanged views back and forth over a course of, I think, 2, maybe 3 years. And much to my surprise, I'm sure to yours, not so much surprise, but probably chagrin, I've returned, and you were here while I've returned. My delegation find Mr. Frieden as being mild-mannered in his demeanor, but very measured in his approach to diplomacy. Your term, your tenure, and your engagement, particularly with my delegation, has been truly impactful. Your time as a paratrooper may have equipped you well in taking on the task here at the OAS, and we trust that in your new endeavors, it will be less of a risk and more of an enjoyment. We bid you farewell until we see you again, as we say, walk good, my friend. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Bahamas. And now offer the floor to Sir Ronald Sanders of Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the departure of the U.S. Interim Representative Brad Frieden is an event of great regret to my delegation. Brad Frieden is an old friend with whom my delegation worked closely as the bilateral ambassador of Antigua and Barbuda to the United States. Brad was the head of the Caribbean Affairs Department of the State Department, and we enjoyed a cooperative and helpful relationship with him. He did very much in a personal way to advance the relationship between our two countries and the relationship with the Caribbean countries as a whole. He came to this organization of the American states bringing an enlightened approach to our collective work. He chose the path of meaningful dialogue, willingness to listen to the views of others, and that quality which he identified as being important to his work, humility, a quality which he demonstrated, as we would say in our English language idiom, he demonstrated it in spades. And every delegation here who've spoken so far remarked about it. But I would add this, more than anything else, Brad Frieden cared about the condition of the countries and people of this hemisphere. And in his work, he showed it. Subsequently, he achieved much, not only for the United States, but for the OAS itself. Many of the resolutions and declarations we adopted over the last 2 years would not have happened as seamlessly and smoothly as they did had it not been for the contributions of Brad Frieden. Some of us will recall the approaches of others who preceded him, who put self-interest above the interests of the organization, and who thought that getting to 18 votes was all that mattered, even if the views of a significant number of other member states were entirely ignored and discarded. That was not his approach. Inclusion was the approach he sought. And my delegation was very pleased to work with him within this council. We wish him well in his work at the Department of Defense, which we know will benefit from his humility and quiet but persuasive diplomacy. We will all miss him, and we thank him for his outstanding work. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Antigua. I now offer the floor to Peru.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd like to express recognition from Peru to Mr. Brad Frieden. No question. This sentiment is shared by all the delegates that spoke before me. Now I could use few words to summarize your term over these 2 years. I could say that it's been highly beneficial to the organization. It enriched the dialogue, cooperation in between our countries, and therefore I want to thank you very much, and we wish you the best.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, I welcome this opportunity to extend my personal thanks to Brad. Coming a year ago, whilst COVID was still feared and there were few in-person meetings, I did attend the few invitations that came by, and I was glad to meet Brad there. I want to thank him for easy conversation and also an easy temperament. As I learned, a man from San Francisco, but not old enough to have had flowers in his hair. I want to thank you, Brad, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Guyana.
Brad, a pleasure to greet you. The truth is, we've spoken very little, Brad and me, because he came in and he comes in and I leave, or rather the other way around. I arrive and he's leaving right now, so I have it. That's what I mean. But we've chatted and I've seen his incredible presence. Everybody wants to be a friend of him. Everybody wants to know him, and Honduras is no exception, particularly in our stage where our president is Xiomara Castro and the government of President Biden have a fine relationship and help in the development of my country and issues of mutual benefit. I don't want to say things I'm not familiar with, but this overwhelming or avalanche of praise for Brad means he must be a great person. When people say a lot of good things about somebody, it could be that it's the opposite, but I can see he's a great person. And my advantage is we're neighbors in Crystal City, and we're going to see each other there in Crystal City. It's a pleasure to meet you. Bye-bye, Brad. Thank you.
Pardon me. Thank you, Honduras. I now offer the floor to Chile.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to add to the list of delegations that bid farewell and thank Brad Frieden. And I can't say much more than what's already been said, but I want to just talk about a brief conversation that I had with him. I was coming in like my Honduran colleague. I was just coming in and he's just, the humility that he shows and has talked about how important it is he showed this. And the first time the interim representative of the United States was to ask for the vote of his country for my candidacy. To my great surprise, he was very informal about it, and he he said that Brad not only knew the person, but he knew him by first name, but he knew the best things about the characteristics of his personality. And so I want to thank him for all the work he's done, and I wish him the most success in his endeavors. Thank you very much.
The delegation of Haiti would like to join with those who have sincerely thanked Mr. Brad Frieden, and it has been a pleasure to work with him. And during these years, we have discovered a humble diplomat who is determined. Personal engagement and his work have furthered issues that are important to our organization, and this has benefited my country and the hemisphere. I remember during the Good Office's mission to Haiti, Mr. Frieden's commitment. Fortunately, he was not able to go, but he was well represented. And so we would like to thank Mr. Friedman and wish him great success in all his future endeavors. And we would like to say, see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. The Organization of American States and Deputy Chief of Mission, you have been at the center of the main issues facing the organization. The preparation of the summit itself, the Permanent Council, and all the important resolutions that have been approved. Your important participation in core issues such as preservation of democracy in the region, full respect for human rights in the Americas, your contributions to security and integral development have been essential for strengthening our main pillars. Brad, your education, experience, and expertise were an important part of our deliberations. As an experienced diplomat, you were always able to promote dialogue and skillfully seek consensus even during difficult negotiations. Your skills in building bridges amid controversies will be missed. Today, we are not just saying goodbye to a United States representative, but to a friend and a gentleman. I wish you the best in your new activities, and you know that this House of the Americas will be always open to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General. I thank the delegations and the Secretary General for their remarks. I now offer the floor to delegations that wish to bring any informative issues to the attention of this Council. I see. The United States.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone in this room. It really, I'm very deeply touched by your kind words, and so thank you, especially given that I know you've been here for several hours and it's lunchtime, so thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Mr. Frieden. It's our pleasure. I see that there are no further requests for the floor. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.